Well, good evening, Steelers, and welcome to the live stream tonight, or the first one. You get double Alex tonight because as soon as we've finished here, I'm going to be calling over to the guys over at Modelling for Advantage, and we're going to be talking First World War. Obviously, let me know if you can hear me. I'm sure I've got a new setup for a microphone, so I'm hoping it's working. Who's in already? We've got John, evening. Dave, evening. Reese Humphreys, evening. Rich John, evening. If there's anybody else out there, Rich M as well. Good to have you all on board, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, hit the like button as always, and let me know in comments what you're painting tonight. As you can see tonight, or maybe you can't see tonight, I've got a platoon of American paratroopers on the table. I'm not loud, am I? Okay, well you'll have to turn your computer up then, won't you? Let's see if this moves up a little bit and see if we. Evening, Jeremy. Let's see if this is a bit better for you. I'll just see what the sound is sounding like over here. I think I've got it as high as I can, so you're just gonna have to turn your computer up, I'm afraid. Evening, Jeffrey. Evening, Steve. Evening, Barnes. Everyone else having sound issues? I don't know, a bit of a high hiss, but not too bad. Maybe something is just not plugged in correctly. 1 second. "12mm Callistra ACW, eh? Lovely figures. I haven't got any 12mm, I've got some 3mm on the table. Is that any better? Has that made any difference for you? Let me see. Because I was going through a longer speaker wire there, so maybe that's happened a bit better. Who knows? Who knows? Well, I can see it's going up, peeking up into the yellow, so it must be okay. Well, at least on this side it is anyway. What else is everybody up to? Apart from some 12mm ACW. Right, so anyway, as I said, tonight on the old table are a bunch of American slight improvement, good American paratroopers, and I'm going to be painting. I'm going to paint their boots next. I've got quite a lot to do on these fellas, so and I want to do them all at once as well. So I'm trying to do little bits to get some of it done as slowly as it is. Who knows? Let's see. So chocolate brown for their boots. I was looking for a painting guide for American paratroopers earlier, and then I realised that I'd actually got done my own painting guide, so I just went back and watched that again. Remember the paints I used. 15mm Minoan style building, scratch built. Good stuff. Always like a scratch built building. I hope you're going to give them gardens and outhouses and things like that. Right, so, and I hate painting boots, but I haven't painted the gaiters on these yet. So I'm going to paint the boots first, and then the gaiters can neaten up any mess that I make, because I'm most likely going to make some mess with these. Evening, Benjamin. Good to have you on board. And say, folks, don't forget, hit the like button if you're liking it, or the dislike button if you're disliking it, whichever. Hobby mojo is low right now, trying to gather enthusiasm to paint. I did pick up a good memory the other day, Call of Cthulhu 3rd edition, the one Badge Games Workshop. I used to have a copy of that. Every time I go into my local gaming store here in Sheffield, I always look at the Call of Cthulhu role-playing books. They're so expensive though now, and there's so many of them. Because you've got the Keeper's book, you've got the Evening Marky Sparky, you've got the Player's book, and they're all like 40 or 50 quid each, and I'd just be looking at them just out of interest, like that 3rd edition one. Mate of mine still got his 5th edition copy. I do keep meaning to buy it at some point. I just never really got round to it. Just like you there, really, just for nostalgia's sake, if nothing else. So yeah, it was a good game, Call of Cthulhu. A very good game indeed. Very much enjoyed it. Anyway, those of you who have just joined, there's a whole bunch of you now watching. Straight after this, I'll be jumping over to the Modelling for Advantage live stream. They're starting at 9:30. We're talking First World War tactics. This time, German tactics. We talked about British ones last time, and this time it's going to be the Germans' turn. So that should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to see how much of these I get done, and then I'll leave you here, and we'll go over there. Evening, Andy. Good to have you on board. So there's quite a lot to do with these paras. It's not just I've got all their equipment and stuff, and when I'm painting 30 odd of them, what else? Franco-Prussian War, French, World War I Germans, nice. Saw the post on Rommel game earlier, looks interesting, cheers. Our battles are directed. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but if you're talking about the First World War, then yes, they definitely were directed. Very much so. Absolute complete myth. Lions led by donkeys. But we'll get onto that later. Yeah, Rommel is a really good game. It's a very interesting game. I realised the last time I played it before I'd played O Group, and the problem is it now suffers from post O Group, because O Group is far more dynamic than Rommel is, and there's a hell of a lot of change in Rommel. At its core, it's a very good game, but because I played Blackadder 4, no, we don't. You get banned for quoting Blackadder. Sturmtruppen Vor. I've already got a game of Sturmtruppen Vor on the channel. Yeah, we don't have Blackadder quotes on this channel. They're banned. Yeah, the thing is with Rommel is you can do once you've initiated your turn, you can do anything you want. Well, you can, all the units can activate, and I kind of think in O Group you have to spend orders to activate units, whereas in Rommel you don't, and I prefer the idea that you have to spend the orders. I've been thinking about how you would do it, because you don't get a huge amount of orders in Rommel, and you've also got quite a few other things you can spend them on, but I'm sure there's a way of probably doing it. Evening all, evening Paul, evening Jonas. Let's have you lads here. Mehdi says, is that the one before they go over the top? I could tell you how bad that scene is as well in Blackadder. What's incorrect in that as well? Terrible show, terrible show. So yeah, there's the Rommel is good, and I like the grid system that it plays on, because I think I like grids. It just cuts down on so many arguments. Evening Dex, good to have you on board, buddy. I hope you're well. Looking forward to seeing your chain of command table this week at the club. If it's anything like last week's, it looked very nice. I'm going to have to investigate both O Group and Rommel then. And it's yeah, check them both out. I mean, they're different levels. Rommel is more up there at divisional level, whereas O Group is battalion level. Now Blackadder the Second's alright, the rest aren't. It's alright, you weren't to know. Yeah, Rommel is good, and what's nice about it is it's very simple to play. It's just like I say, it just needs a little bit more a little bit more dynamics in it. But there are plenty of people who love it. Evening, Andy. Same terrain as last week. Okay. Right, good stuff. So Italy, back to Italy then, eh? Well, I'm planting some paras here, some American paras. So these could also be dropped into Italy at some point. I'm fairly sure. Evening. Hello, yo, Wargaming, Mister. Trying to find the motivation to paint French Napoleonic infantry right now. Sorting beach obstacles. 28mm D-Day board instead. Okay, well, just start small. Just do one colour. That's what I always think. That's what I'm doing tonight. I'm just doing these, finishing the bases for a couple of 150mm World War II Soviets. Blimey, that's a big ask. But it's always good to see 15mm on the benches, no matter what. These last ones here, I'm just trying to think of what other colours I can do quickly really on these. I might do the backpacks and stuff and then come back and do the webbing and things later. I think that might be a way to do it. Hello, Tiny. Here she is. She's come up here. She's got stuck now. So there we are. Standing on everything. Thank you, Tiny. You be about your business. What's my opinion on 6mm? I would turn a 15mm for battle group, but I'm planning on going down to 6mm. Well, I won't play battle group for a start. 6mm is great. I like it a lot. I've got 7,000 6mm Napoleonic figures for Waterloo. I was going to do Rommel in 6mm as well, but I went to 3mm instead because I thought it fits nicer on 6-inch squares. But if I was starting from scratch, I would probably do O group in 6mm as well, and I ain't been shot mum in 6mm as well. And both of those have worked really well in 6mm. Mostly painting horses, bay horses. No painting again tonight. I spent all day messing with suppliers. Oh dear, exploding naked. Well, I'll just chill out. Tackling the challenge that's painting white, doing Teutonic Knights with ivory and thin down sepia wash. Just undercoat and white, Andy. Do you game much ACW? No, I played one. Boots are the reason I decided the ACW Napoleonics will return to the hobby. What's wrong with the grabbing group is your favourite World War II set, but I'm willing to hear you out. I just didn't think it was particularly interesting, if I'm honest. I thought that morale part of it is deeply flawed. It felt like rapid fire with a morale system, and rapid fire, despite playing it for years and years and years, I just got no interest in it anymore. There's far better dynamic rules out there, I think. The battle group, what I didn't like, I'll be very specific on this, is the morale system. When something is destroyed, you pull out a chit, from what I recall. It's been a while since I read it, and that number reduces your army morale, which is fine, but the problem is you could have a machine gun team destroyed and then pull out a chit that is worth a really high amount. It's a completely random system. Whereas, you know, you could have I don't know, your best tank unit destroyed and pull out a chit, and it only causes 1 on the morale. You know, depending on what you pull out on your chits. So let's say chain of command, just to pull it out of the air. If a leader is killed, it's more likely that you're going to lose more force morale than you would if, say, a team of bazooka gets wiped out. So that's one of the things I didn't like about it. But, you know, each their own. if you like it, you like it. Ain't nobody going to change that. It's entirely, you know, this hobby is big enough for all of us. Evening, Andy. Good to have you on board. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Right. So I got all these fellas from Peter Pig. So I was thinking about what figures to use. I was going to go with Battle Group because they've got that Hit the Beach box set, which I've already got, but I've got them from. Yeah, that's fair. Thank you. Yeah, that was probably my main issue with it. A couple other things, like I say, just it felt a bit of just an old school war game, really. Basically, taking the boardroom like campaign from the Barbarossa book and turning it into a Western Front. Fair enough. It's a bit too crunchy for you these days. I wasn't keen on the artillery rules. Yeah, I think that's another thing, isn't there? There's about 6 dice rolls for artillery. I can't really remember. It's been a while since I read it. You do plan on house ruling some stuff. That's fair. Well, you know, that's what rules are for, isn't it? They're there to be messed about with. You know, if you don't like something, do it. It just reminded me too much of Rapid Fire, which, you know, we played to death. I appreciate the crunchiness. The artillery isn't your favourite, but I think there's a few more pressing things. But very few rules are perfect, I think. Or, you know, there's very few wargamers that won't mess about. I mean, I was talking about Rommel earlier, and although it is a great game, there is loads of stuff in it that I would just sit down and go, right, this doesn't, I don't think this works, I don't like this. And it's more about command and control with Rommel than anything else. World War One Eastern Front minis in 15mm. Peter Pig do a lot of Eastern Front. They've got a massive range of Russians. The only thing I know about Rapid Fire is one guy on YouTube who has very large armies for 20mm. Yeah, we used to play in 15mm. I say play for years, but then we picked up I Ain't Been Shot Mum. We got to a point with Rapid Fire that we'd actually rewritten it so much that it was just I Ain't Been Shot Mum, and then I bought I Ain't Been Shot Mum, and it was like, we're already playing this almost. So we just started playing I Ain't Been Shot Mum because we started using cards as a system for activating units. What was the other? Yeah, Eastern Front minis. Yeah, I'd go with thingy, Peter Pig, and they do the Germans as well, so they could just stand in as the Austro-Hungarians because it's practically the same uniform. Ever so slight differences, but you're not going to see them at 15mm. Have you ever wondered why you like Napoleon's two world wars, the most popular area in between them is he doesn't float your boat? Because I'm not American, Dave. And I've never really wondered about it. I think it goes back to childhood. I was interested in the Second World War when I was a kid because I was playing with toy soldiers, which were mostly Second World War, and I was reading Commando and Victor and all those comics and stuff. I was interested in Napoleonic Wars because when I used to go to the library, I used to get books on the Napoleonic Wars out of the library, and American Civil War just never sparked that same interest. I mean, I watched Waterloo when I was in Nipper. There wasn't the same film on a Saturday afternoon about the American Civil War, so I think it's probably more to do with that. Because of the Napoleonic period, the thing I'm most interested in is the Waterloo campaign. And again, that comes directly from being a kid. First World War, I'm interested in that because I went and did some First World War archaeology 20 years ago, and then just thought, this is actually a really interesting war. I'm going to learn about this. And that's where that comes from. You live in America, games from UK, 4K are more popular here. I've heard that in mainland Europe, ACW is very popular. Yeah, a lot of people do play it. I think it's kind of, it's gone down a little bit in popularity in the last few years, but certainly I'd say 20 years ago, you'd go to shows and stuff, and there was always you'd have to ask your girlfriend, is she an ACW player? You'd always see an ACW table at least. Problem today is there's a large monetary investment, lots of rules today going on the rule chasing. Back in the day, the pamphlet rules cost next to nothing, so easier to move on than house rule. That's true, I think. That is true. We'll have to give them a look. Once we recreate the force and Baltic State Wars, Independence 18 to 20. Yeah, you'll find what you need in Peter Pig, I think. The thing is, we only ever done World War II games, mainly because I helped to do some research for Museum in summer. ACW is interesting when you get to a certain size. Played a linked set of games on a siege of Vicksburg, 6mm one time, which included the riverboats, and that was great. Hello from Upper Hutt, New Zealand. Hey, I've been painting 6mm Egyptian and Israeli 73 Yom Kippur War, but with the current situation, yes, I think that's a pretty astute idea. Let's go back to 15mm World War II and ACW. See, there's another ACW on there. We're in the US. So you never had the Airfix Union Confederate Plastics? No, a friend did though. He had them, and we did play some Civil War games when we were kids. When I was in my teens. But they were just, I mean, we just set all the figures up on a table and moved them about and messed about with them and stuff. They weren't like, proper war games in the proper sense. But they were American Civil War ones. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the game that you put on down at the club the other week. I enjoyed that because I liked those rules. And, I would play again. It's just, it's not a period that I've got any particular interest in, because I do historical wargaming because I like history, and if the history doesn't interest me, I'm not going to wargame it. I suppose is the bottom line. And the American Civil War just don't float my boat. Yeah, well, New Jersey and Florida are only about 18 hours away from each other. That's like a drive down to the shops in America. We should get together. But yeah, so that's probably why I'm not that bothered about it. Like I say, I don't actively dislike it. I just don't play ACW like I don't play any of the other things, and any of the other wars of the 19th century, like the Franco-Prussian and stuff like that. Well, yeah, if that's what you want to do. Used to set up the blue and grey plastics, jumbo berries in them. Simple days, didn't we all? Do you have any game stores nearby? Join the Discord server, local store, and 3 big games. Yeah, game stores are always good. They're always useful places to go. And if nothing else, you like playing ACW Altar of Freedom by Greg from Little Wars. Yeah, Sean likes his ACW a lot as well. Yeah, he certainly does. And yeah, that's what we were playing. We were playing Altar of Freedom at the club the other day. That Dave very kindly put the game on off, and like I say, really enjoyed it. Thought it was a great game. Really good fun. Some really nice mechanics in it. But evening, Steve. Have you missed much? Only half an hour, Steve. Join late. Following what talking about last week, just curious, why don't you find 14-15 gaming interest you focus on the late war, World War One? I think those ethics are the reason a lot of Brits wargame ACW. Yeah, the same with Napoleonics. Why not play 14-15? Because I don't think it's particularly interesting, really. Well, 15 is, I think. 1914 is feels a little bit vanilla, because everybody's armed with rifles. It's there's very little tactical innovation, because they're still using lessons learned from previous wars, and it's I don't know. I'm just trying to think really. Bloody hell, getting adverts on the live stream. Oh dear. That's what started love of wargaming itself. So on a trip to Gettysburg. I am on MFA tonight. Yes, I'll be on at 9:30. Bloody annoying Domino's advert. Sorry. Sorry folks. That's YouTube for you. So yeah, why don't I play 14, 15? 15 is more interesting because I think that's just at the bottom of the learning curve for the BEF in particular, and all the armies really. But you know, once again, everybody's still using pretty much the same kit. I mean, grenades have come in, but it's not like 1916 or even 1917 where you've got rifle grenades and you've got the Lewis gun and you've got all the different bits and pieces that they're starting to actually work out how to use and what's the best way to use these things. Does that answer the question? I'm not beyond doing early war stuff, but it's just not something that particularly interests me. And again, it's you know, from my interest, again, you know, the reason I do historical wargaming is because I'm interested in the history, so the history has to interest me in the first place. And it interests me in as much as this is the First World War, but it, you know, I'd far rather read a book on 1917 than I would on 1914, if that makes sense. I think it's just a case of the war at that point is completely and utterly different to anything that had happened before. You know, you got completely, totally material war. You have to try and stay off that. Yeah, me too. Am I looking forward to ABC Warriors for Warlord? Is not your bag. Well, ABC Warriors definitely are my bag. They are. I love them. I love the stories. However, Storm of Pizza, I can't really see. You use black powder for 14, quite different to later. Yeah, I think so. I can't really see what the game is going to be, to be perfectly honest, Paul, because I don't know what are they going to be fighting about? Robots fighting against robots. I know it's going to be similar to the Jewish Dread rules. Well, I'm sure it's going to be, which, to be honest, I don't really like much. But I'm not paying 75 quid for 6 figures. That's for sure. I mean, fair fucks to those people who want to, but I'm certainly not. And I do like them. I mean, I love the stories, but I think in this case they might just have to stay as stories for me. So I've got a lot of the Warlord Games Jewish Dread stuff, but I use it. I've been using What a Cowboy for that instead. Hopefully the Volgans. Yeah. You like reading across World War One, but enjoy the 16 to 18 gaming because of the tactics. Yeah. With your interest in trench warfare, you might find the Prussian siege at Dieupel 1864 interesting as well. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff in the 1860s war. Invasion. Some interesting stuff in those 1860s wars. It's where really probably the birth of modern tactics begins. Because people always say, well, the First World War is just Napoleonic tactics at the start. Well, it's not, because of the 100 years between the Napoleonic Wars and the First World War, and things had moved on. But yeah, I was looking at some of the Austrian stuff in the museum over there, the military museum, which I'll probably not go back to now. But yes, it's some interesting stuff going on with those guys. Your club, 2 of the guys play Chain of Command through the Mud and Blood. I've always had an interest in World War One. I never gamed it. Maybe a game. Ancient tasted World War Two. We'll give it a try. Do. You'll enjoy it, especially through the Mud and the Blood. It's a great game. You seem to recall some crossover stories between Dread and the... Yeah, I think they exist in the same universe, and I'm fairly sure that Hammerstein and Rojaws appeared in Judge Dredd more than once, at least back in the 80s anyway. So yes, I could get them for Jewish Dread, but as I say, the problem is it's a box set, and I don't really want to pay 70 odd quid for a box set of 6 figures I'm going to play. ABC was an odd choice. If they do Yoke Trooper, I'll go for that. I think it's probably supposed to tie in with the Jewish Dread stuff, the existence stuff, because even the Strontium Dog stuff, even that early days, that I think that crossed over with Jewish Dread as well, once or twice, not often, but it happened, and then they all became a little bit more kept in their lane a little, shall we say. Oh, I always forget how nice Peter Pig figures are to paint. So much detail on them. They're lovely little fellas. Yeah, I'm just painting some of the sacks and stuff at this point on these, and then I'll probably come back and do all the details when I don't have to. Sadly, I've head out. It was fun. No worries. Thank you for being here. As long as you hit the like button, like everybody else who's watching. Thanks for watching. 75 for 6 figures. I'll stick with 6mm. I can get 3 Union Core for that. Yeah. If anyone's got a cross genetic infantry 15mm, don't let you know. Hello, Andrew Bulford. I bet Coruscant probably do something that Lucky Likeys, or Ground Zero Games probably do something that are also Lucky Likeys as well for GIs, for Rogue Trooper. I'd be very surprised if there's nothing that you can't find. Am I sponsored by Peter Pig? No. I am famously independent. I'm not sponsored by anyone, but these are very nice figures, and I've painted them for years. I love them. They do Volgans, I buy them. Some modern Renaissance fighters to play Invasion, which is a favourite storylines. Volgans, well, they're just, well, I say modern. They're 1980s Soviets, aren't they? Basically, with slightly different guns, from what I remember. And probably 1980s Soviets in gas masks. They'd do you as Volgans, wouldn't they? Volgans. I love the old 2000 ADs. I mean, it says so much about the society at the time, British society. It's brilliant. I wonder if they're ever going to do Hookjaw. I know he was in action, but you know, again, there was a crossover once or twice. When's the next O Group supplement released? Don't know. No idea. It might be North Africa. I'm not sure what Dave is working on. I think he's been snowed under with GDA 2 for the last while. So I wouldn't expect anything immediately. And also the release. Basically, Soviets, we need some spider troops though. Basically, the release funnel with Rich at the bottom of it is quite clogged up with quite a few things, so I wouldn't expect anything for a long time. I'm assuming the Far East Handbook will be out soon enough. Anybody watching is going to Steel Lard this weekend? I'm putting Great War Chain of Command on the table for the first time. Hopefully it won't collapse under its own weight. But we shall see. See what works and what doesn't work. We're playing the Canadian attack on the sugar factory at Courcelette, which Dex has played as Through the Mud and the Blood, but we're doing big Chain of Command. That's my plan. Good game that. Still play the classic version. That's AK-47, isn't it? Yeah, it was fun. It was fun when we played that at the club as well. Yeah. See it still hard. Not in your game. Oh, you're playing Dex. I didn't see your name on the list. Johan Hex. What about a Johan Hex Water Cowboy? I don't know what Yona Hex is. So, I don't know. Is a short answer for that. This is not really working how I expected it to, because I can't concentrate. David was just on Yorkshire Kent's podcast. General Dalmay is going through the final checks. Yeah, I was being listening to it the other day. I think he's aiming to Ancients rule set next. Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he's working on. But the O group supplements are probably relatively easy to write. I think the Ancients thing was more like, you know, his next big project. I'm fairly sure he'll be putting out some more O group stuff at some point. Just don't know when. Right, so I'm going to put those to one side, because with you lot gabbering on, I can't actually concentrate. You're going to ClaceCon in Aarhus, Denmark this week. We'll be replaying the Battle of Narva 44 with a good couple of connected tables and a strategic map where units can move between tables. Excellent. I think stainless steel rat would work for a water cowboy. Yeah, it would. What am I working on? These are American paratroopers, 50mm US airborne. Easy company, to be more exact, for chain of command. I'm just working my way through them. I got them all yesterday. Yona Hex was a comic book cowboy, DC, I think. Okay, I don't know that one. What I might do though is, I'll tell you what I was going to do, is I was going to paint these 2mm or 3mm, who can tell, SDK FZs. So I'm going to do these. That's what I was going to do. I'll paint these. Yona Hex came from DC Comics Stable. Stainless steel rat is a good shout. Yeah, there's a lot of things that work with Water Cowboy. I mean, I've done it with Star Wars, Jewish Dread, even stuff like, I don't know, Rogue Trooper when he's hunting down the traitor general, things like that. That would work quite well, I think. Right, so I'm going to go with, so first of all, chocolate brown. I'm going to do the 3-tone camo on these bad boys, which is going to be very simple. Then literally they're just going to get an ink wash, and that's I'll do a tiny slight dry brush on them, and that's them done. I'm just what do I do for a living? I'm an archaeologist. I work for the Ministry of Defence as an archaeology advisor covering the North and Scotland. So I give advice from an archaeological point of view to developments across the MOD estate. That's my job, and that is what I do. And it is a great job. I like it a lot. Can't beat it. Bit of civil service. It is the most secure job I've ever had in archaeology, and I've worked in archaeology for 20 years. Far too long. Well, at least none of the archaeology is actually younger than me at this point. So as soon as I stop concentrating, everybody stops talking in chat. What's that about? And by the way, I can see there's 30 odd of you watching. Hit the like button. There's only 20 likes there. That means that either 15 of you don't like it or haven't found a like button. I love badgers. Yeah, I do swear at badgers a lot. And Indiana. Yeah. Well, the closest my job ever got to Indiana Jones is when I went to St Kilda. Because I was going across in a helicopter, I had to have helicopter underwater escape training. So I had to go to Hull to get put into a helicopter in a swimming pool, turned upside down, and have to get out and survive in case the helicopter that I was going to St Kilda on crashed, because it's 40 miles off the coast of Scotland. That's the closest I've ever been to Indiana Jones. I guess I worked in Tanzania, and the walk to work was a bit Indiana Jones-ish. It was almost through through a jungle. It wasn't exactly a jungle, but it was very, very thick. Evening, Richard Hogg. A secure job in archaeology is not really words you hear in the same sentence. No, it isn't, which is why this job is good, because it is secure, because it's civil service. Paul says, given your interest in 1809, do you think it might be something to explore shell prices? I'm thinking about it, Paul. I am looking at it with a sly eye, and I think it will be something that I will look at in greater detail. Best moment in your archaeology career? What a question. Well, there's two. There's two, I think. Three. Let's go with three. One of the best ones was excavating a I think it was about 8 metre deep Roman stone well in York, and along with a wooden made well as well, which when we pulled the wood out, you could actually see the axe marks where they'd originally been cut 2,000 years ago and then stuck in the ground. I'm not playing a PSC with the Paras, and who knows if it's a Battle of Foix. Could be anything. The other good time was finding a spindle wall in Iceland with a woman's name from the 12th century written on it in runes. That was great. And probably the best time is the First World War archaeology, possibly finding the six foot of tank track at Bullecourt, or the recovering the German remains back in Serre in 2003, where we were able to actually name them. So that was very nice. There you go, they're my favourites, my top three. I think I need to invest in some voice to text software. Stopping to type. I've only painted 12 horses. Oops. Look forward to that in the future. Yeah, it will be a long off in the future, but I am thinking about it. Then I'm agreeing with it. Many skirmish games use a handful of figures, are reasonably easy to adapt to a different genre as opposed to the bigger battles at army level. Probably, yeah. Depends. I mean, they have to have period flavour. Like some things would be would need a lot of work for various weapons and stuff, but even big battles can be big battle stuff could probably quite easily be converted to different periods, and a lot of people do anyway, especially if you just go down the command and control route of things rather than concentrating on the weapons. If you get rid of the granularity of the weapons and go more on a command and control tag, I think you can quite easily convert most rules. Not all, and they do. They need it. They need it. Name of the Germans that find a fallen episode. Absolutely, absolutely. Your youngest just finished their archaeology degree. Now works as a 3D figure designer. Excellent, good stuff. You'll probably make more money. Agree, David. I think it's because the rules at the company level and bigger are more specific to the era. Well, again, it depends on how granular you get, really. And I like the command and control ideas of things more so than the granularity of the individual weapons. So if you change that stuff about, you can pretty much fit things in. You know, a commander in ancient Greece can only command as far as he can see, as far as they can hear him. A commander in the First World War is the same, really. Some years ago, archaeologists found a Dark Age mill and bridge 100 metres from your backyard. At the time, it was nice to find one of my wargaming mates in charge of the dig. Yeah, there's a lot of wargamers in archaeology. What did you learn about World War One which you wouldn't have learned if you were not an archaeologist? The minutiae of trench life. So, stuff that gets forgotten. in personal diaries and in letters and in official manuscripts. I did 4-year degree at Glasgow. Never used a trolling angle. Oh, I'm glad he's making figures now. Command and control of variables could use on any war game. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you change it a bit around, depending on communication. But yeah, the minutiae of life in the trenches. So the amount of crap they threw away, because obviously you're just ending up with stuff left, and nobody's writing home saying, "Oh, I had a really nice load of bully beef today," or put it in the diary, because that's just the day-to-day stuff that's happening. They're recording other things. So you see, and also in the official diaries and things, you don't get it either. So you pick up on that, what they use in the trenches for, how they're living in the trenches when they're in the trenches, that kind of stuff. And you learn that from archaeology. I mean, you learn that from archaeology, from material culture. Basically, is the main thing that archaeology is interested in. The material culture of the past, and the First World War is part of that. That day-to-day life that doesn't go recorded. Most archaeology are digging through rubbish. Absolutely. If it was any good, they would have kept it. That's what I've always said. So, it's definitely one of those things. Right, I've just been told that some adverts were coming up, so I've skipped them for you. So I do apologise if you do see adverts. Do I feel a lot of World War II wargamers misunderstand the German army of World War II and don't realise it was only minimally motorised as opposed to the Allies were fully motorised? Yes, 100%. But that's probably a fault of, I don't know, TV and documentaries and things like that as well, I think. Showing the clips of the Germans zubbing about in the tanks. Was it something like 70% of the German army was horse-drawn, whereas the British army in the 30s was the most motorised army in the world. Digging the dirt to find where we came from, absolutely. Another archaeology friend of yours, part of a dig at Auschwitz years ago, told me the first couple of days were tough. Then he started noticing the birds singing in the green grass. Made him feel guilty. You cope with things. It's just a coping mechanism. I think a lot of command and controllers ignore non-historical skirmish games where they tend to be gangs where the individual is key, not the whole. Yeah, probably. A bit more TV-like, aren't they? Dex according to these, that's all ritual and rubbish and ritual. Yes, everything's ritual in archaeology. Yeah, I mean, we've, it's not Auschwitz, but I've excavated mass graves of First World War soldiers, and you have a moment and you think, can I do this? But then, several hours into it, you're making jokes because it's a coping mechanism. It's no disrespect to the men, and you're treating them with utmost care as you're getting them out of the ground, but you have to have a little bit of dark humour, just because otherwise you just go mad, I think. And a friend of mine, he was the main forensic archaeologist of the southeast, and he excavated recent murders and stuff, and kids as well, bodies of kids and stuff, and he was saying, yeah, we tell really, really sick jokes because it's just a way of dealing with it. I completely understand it, really. It's when it goes beyond that it's it's when it falls into the public hands, it's a bit different. But you're still treating the remains with respect and doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's the least you can do, really. Don't know where we are. The R word, ritual here. I said I was a lapsed archaeologist. I've not lifted a trowel for some 30 years. Ah well, there'll be always a chance, Dex. I'm sure there'll be some close archaeology. It comes from the propaganda films. Goebbels was good at getting shots of mass tanks. I think this here was about the tank type the Wehrmacht had. Yeah, exactly. And then the thing is that keeps getting reused in modern TV shows and documentaries and things. So all you ever see is the Germans razzing about in their armoured cars. Covered in blood and brains. Similar to Mortician's humour, we guess. Yeah, exactly. Covered in blood and brains from a guy who jumped in front of a train. Oh dear. Nasty. Am I a metal detectorist? No. Not at all. Not a bit of it. And right, I'm going to finish these off, and I think I'm going to wrap up here tonight. Because as I say, I can't really concentrate on doing the detail stuff. So I'm going to leave that for tomorrow night when you lot aren't yabbering at me. I'm just going to get those entered up. Lapsed geologist, not such a rock hammer, at least 20 years. Excellent. Right, I'm going to leave it at that for tonight, ladies and gents. Hit the like button, please. Also, as I said, I'm going to be over on the Modelling for Advantage guys in an hour, so come and join us. I'll put a link to it in the community post. So how do I feel about metal detectors as a professional archaeologist? I don't like them much, Reese. That's my short answer. I'm just about to finish, so I'll leave it at that. So yeah, jump over. We're going to be talking about First World War, and I'll see you over there, and I shall see you in the next live stream, whenever that'll be. Probably next week, I think. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I have.